doing?
No, not that.
Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to holidays, specifically Valentine's Day. And as somebody who's been a UK citizen his entire life and also who's married an American citizen, I know a little bit about this topic, especially since we ourselves got married on February 14th. And I know what you're thinking, ooh, Lawrence, that's so adorable. You are such a hopeless romantic. Firstly, no, if anything, I am romantically hopeless. As I've said before, I was in the country visiting my then fiancée. We made a decision, let's get married tomorrow. That way we can speed up the process of living in the same country. We just didn't look at a calendar to find out what tomorrow's date actually was. And so here we were, reluctantly doing that thing where we got married on Valentine's Day. You'll probably have detected from my tone that I'm not the biggest fan of Valentine's Day. After all, who needs February 14th to tell your significant other that you love them? That's what your anniversary is for, which in my case is February 14th. But having done this YouTube channel for 8 years, I was stunned to realize that I'd never done a video all about Valentine's Day differences. And so that's why you're sitting at a table with me right now on a Valentine's date, although it looks more like a seance, as I, Lawrence Brown, serenade you, the viewer, with facts about Valentine's Day that will leave you just feeling all romantic and warm, or just better informed. And as always, if you haven't subscribed to Lost in the Pond, do that now. Without further ado, here are 4 ways that British and American Valentine's Day is very different. And I thought I'd start this list by trying to determine which country Valentine's Day is more popular in. And I know, Lawrence, you don't even like Valentine's Day, so how would you even know? Well, actually, the fact that I don't like it might mean that I have a more intense understanding of just how pervasive it is at this time of year. So here's the thing, my mum's birthday is in January, so at that time of year I often found myself in Clinton's cards. And of course, as early as a month before, the shop would be absolutely dominated by Valentine's Day cards. The same, of course, as you might expect, is true in the United States. So which country goes more bananas for it? And this is something that I didn't really have a sense for because I'm not its target audience. To me, it almost felt like British shops went out of their way to capitalise on the holiday just as much as American ones. But apparently that's not true, or at least not from the consumer standpoint, because it turns out that one of those countries spends significantly more than the other on Valentine's Day merchandise. And that country is the United States of America. And listen, can you hear that sound? That is the sound of Uncle Toby typing away in the comment section. Lawrence, of course America spends more on Valentine's Day because America has way more people. And this is true, 5 times as many people as it happens. But here's the difference, the average American will spend $55 on Valentine's Day merchandise, compared to their British counterparts who spend about 23 after the conversion. And the biggest question I have is, what on earth are you spending that money on? And that's not me gatekeeping your expenditures, I just genuinely want to know. So we're going to answer that. I've already touched on it, but perhaps the most recognisable gift on this here Valentine's Day is a simple Valentine's card. Growing up in England, I didn't get many. I do remember there was this one time when I was about 15 that a girl in my class sent me a Valentine's card after I told her that nobody ever sends me a Valentine's card. She sort of felt sorry for me. Anyway, I didn't see her after that. And upon moving to the United States, I was already married to my American wife. So we would just exchange anniversary stuff, or in her case, anniversary stuff plus birthday stuff, because it's her birthday on February 12th. All that to say, I don't have much personal experience of Valentine's cards in the United States. But I seem to be in the minority with that, because according to studies, 190 million Valentine's Day cards are sent in the United States every year. And when you consider the fact that there are 333 million Americans, 57% of Americans on average send a Valentine's Day card. In Britain, we're apparently not quite as enthusiastic, because only 25 million Brits reported doing the same. For percentage completists, that works out as about 37% of the entire population of the UK. But if you're not the sort of couple whose relationship is irreversibly strengthened by a piece of folded paper stock, perhaps you opt instead for this. Like all good holidays, and even some bad ones, Valentine's Day is notable for the sale of candy. This is true in Britain almost as much as it is in the United States, except there's one big difference: the brand of candy in question. In America, at this time of year, one of the things you see a lot of in shops are those heart-shaped candies called sweethearts. And they usually have these little sort of romantic phrases on them, like "I love you" or "hot stuff." But here's the thing, you won't be thinking that I'm hot stuff after all my teeth have rotted away, which undoubtedly they would after eating all of these. And truthfully, if my wife unironically bought me a bag of these, that would be grounds for divorce. Because I stopped eating added sugar, but also sweets like this are the reason that I stopped eating added sugar. They're not my true love, even if those two words are written on them. Now, my British viewers might be watching this thinking, "Ooh, but Lawrence, we have those in Britain too, you know." But I would say that that is completely and utterly a little bit inaccurate. Because in Britain, our equivalent of these sweets are called love hearts and not sweethearts. And the sweet itself is circular, just with a heart embossed on the front. Equally though, they do come equipped with deeply cringeworthy phrases on the front, such as "hold me" or "funny face" or "my friend." If you give me any of them, we are not friends. But before I did give up added sugar, the quickest way to my heart was through chocolate. Back when we were engaged and separated by a giant pond, my wife sent me a mysterious bag containing the words Hershey Kisses. I had them. I thought they were alright. I still think they're alright. And since it was Valentine's Day, in return it would have been appropriate for me to send a box of Cadbury assortments, but I didn't. I think I got her a gift card that year. And then there's this. Dinner, although the kitchen staff is running late with the food. Look, again, just like with all of the other things that I've mentioned in this list, I don't have a great deal of experience of having a Valentine's Day dinner. In fact, knowing that our anniversary falls on Valentine's Day, we try to avoid that date like the plague and usually go on my wife's birthday. But there was this one time when I was at university when I ambled into an Indian restaurant late at night, only to find that this restaurant was uncharacteristically booked up. That is, except for one chair by the window. As I looked around, I noticed that all of the tables had a red rose except for mine. Upon realizing that I'd entered this restaurant alone on Valentine's Day, I thereafter pretended to be a food critic, which was the ultimate power move in the situation. And really, that's the only observation I've got, so if I was just going on personal experience. British people clearly have more Valentine's Day dinners than their American counterparts. And the data would seem to back me up on that, which is weird when you consider that Americans spend way more than British people on Valentine's Day. According to a study, 25% of Americans say that they dine out on Valentine's Day, whereas in Britain the figure is, weirdly, over 60%. I'm skeptical of that. The problem is with this, it's quite hard to get any reliable data, especially since the numbers were skewed during the pandemic. But I could almost believe that a higher percentage of Brits dine out than Americans. It's February. A lot of the northern United States is battling temperatures that aren't entirely fit for humans. In most of Britain, though cold, we don't really have that problem. Could it be that it's just more of a cultural thing in Britain? Well, there's only one way to answer that question, and that's by letting me know in the comment section below whether you are British, American, or one of those other nationalities, and whether or not you plan to dine out on Valentine's Day. One thing you can be sure of is I won't be there, which is probably best for everyone. Thank you for allowing me to speak at you. I recommend we split the bill. I give you more facts if you follow me on Twitter at LostInThePondUS. After doing that, watch this video to keep your Lost in the Pond binge alive and well. This meal, along with everything else at Lost in the Pond, was funded by my patrons. If you would like to support Lost in the Pond, you can do so today at patreon.com/lostinthepond. Until the next video, goodbye.